Let's talk about Shane and why fans misunderstand him or get annoyed by him. To put it bluntly, it's because he's autistic. Yep. People misunderstand him or have limited empathy for him because they expect his emotional expression to look neurotypical, and Shane's emotional expression isn't. Let's look at this through the lens of the double empathy problem theory. This is a theory that was developed in 2012 by Dr. Damian Milton, who is an autistic researcher. Many neurotypical people think of autistic individuals as lacking empathy or having difficulty understanding another person's state of mind. Milton's theory proposes that autistic people do not lack empathy. Rather, the double empathy theory proposes that not only do autistic people struggle to understand neurotypical people, is that neurotypical people equally struggle to understand autistic communication styles. But only one side gets labeled as deficient, and that is the individual living with autism. Simply put, the theory suggests that when people who have very different experiences of the world interact, they will struggle to empathize with each other. So if you're a neurotypical viewer or reader, you may have difficulty fully empathizing with Shane. Shane shows love through consistency, loyalty, and action, not always through verbal reassurance or emotional mirroring. However, our neurotypical dominant society privileges expressive, emotionally fluent communication. So Shane gets misread as distant or cold, when in reality, he's often the most stable and grounded person in the relationship. Shane's autism means that his emotional expression is often steady, literal, consistent, action-based. He shows love through being there, following through, not playing games. But he's not always going to perform emotion in a way that is obvious to the viewer or the reader or to the other characters in the Game Changer series. What makes this even more complex is that how Shane's autism intersects with relational stress. So when conflict happens between him and Ilya, his instinct is to withdraw or become more literal. But that isn't avoidance, it's his nervous system regulating. But to someone like Ilya, who has abandonment trauma, that can feel like emotional disconnection and the beginning of abandonment. Relationship tension in the long game specifically is a collision of Shane and Ilya's internal worlds, which include neurodivergence, trauma history, attachment styles, communication mismatches, and nervous system responses. And if you miss that, you miss the entire emotional core of their relationship. And this is where the double empathy problem comes in. It's not just that autistic people struggle to understand neurotypical people. Neurotypical people struggle just as much to understand autistic communication. And what's actually happening in Shane and Ilya's conflict, as we've talked about before, is misattunement. Shane isn't withholding, he's regulating. Ilya isn't too much, he's seeking safety. But without understanding each other's internal logic, those responses trigger each other. They are not fighting each other. They're fighting the meaning that they assign to each other's coping. They're both misunderstanding each other, but for some fans, only one gets labeled as the problem. So fans who get annoyed at Shane are kind of quietly labeling him as bad at emotions, but in reality, they're having a hard time holding space for his autism. But here's the truth. Shane is not bad at emotions. He's actually more emotionally honest than most people. He doesn't perform feelings that he does not have. He does not rely on ambiguity. He loves in ways that are predictable, steady, and real, which is exactly what a dysregulated partner like Ilya needs, even if it doesn't always feel like that. Shane isn't a hard character to love or to empathize with because he's autistic. He's hard to read if you only understand one emotional language.